I'm Katie Goode, licensed marriage and family therapist specializing in EMDR and hypnosis. I wanted to give you a little bit of a brief overview of what types of things EMDR and hypnosis can help you with. So I've got more detailed information on each of those techniques on my EMDR and hypnosis pages, but I'll give you a brief overview right here. So I think that most people are familiar with EMDR and know that it helps people with PTSD. And it's a phenomenal technique for helping with PTSD. It really, what it does is it removes the intensity of the trauma. So for example, I had a client that I was working with last year and we finished in the summer, and she reached out to me a few months ago to let me know that for the first time in 11 years, she didn't have any flashbacks on the anniversary of her trauma. So what EMDR does is when you're thinking about the trauma or you're in a situation that reminds you of the trauma, you don't relive it. You don't re-experience it, and you aren't re-traumatized by it. EMDR can shift the beliefs you have about yourself and about the trauma, so you can move through it and move beyond it and heal. So it's a really powerful technique for PTSD, but it's also good for a lot of other things. How EMDR works is it changes the negative core beliefs you have about yourself. So we all have these. One of the most common negative core beliefs is I'm not good enough, right? So maybe I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not deserving, something along those lines. So EMDR can change those negative core beliefs. And here's the fun part, you get to pick what you'd like to believe about yourself instead. So it's a very powerful technique, and the way I do it though is it's very gentle. Because I think one of the core things I believe about being a trauma therapist and helping people with trauma is we really don't want to re-traumatize you. So you get to set the pace. So I want you to know that you'll feel very safe and supported. And again, you're in control, you set the pace. I'm not going to push you harder than you're ready to go or deeper than you're ready to go. If you give me permission to nudge you a little bit, I will, but I'll continue to check in with you and make sure that you're okay with it, and we can step back at any time. So most of my clients report that with the way I do EMDR for them, they feel very safe and supported, and it allows them to go a little bit deeper than they thought they would be able to, because again, they're safe. They're very safe feeling, and knowing that they have that control really helps them to feel ready to do a little bit more than they might originally think. And they also feel safe with the technique. We've done it a few times, so they know they can trust me, and they know they can trust EMDR, and they know they can trust themselves to be okay through this process. So I think it's very important when you're doing trauma work that you feel that you're in control, because trauma takes away that feeling of being in control and leaves people feeling powerless. So again, I think it's really important that you know that you're safe, you get to set the pace, you're in control, and I don't want to re-traumatize you. So again, you're in control. We do it at a very safe pace. I'll continually check in with you to make sure that you're okay going at that pace. So that's a little bit about EMDR. And like I said, if you'd like more information about EMDR, go to my EMDR page. I've got another video, and I've also got a long written detailed explanation of the technique too. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about hypnosis, because that's another technique I use. Hypnosis, I've found, is incredibly successful for anxiety, for things like panic attacks or specific phobias. Most of my clients with panic attacks, we do about, say, 2 sessions, and they stop having any kind of panic attacks. And after about 4 or 5 sessions, we've completely eliminated any hint that there might be another panic attack. And for several of my clients, I've heard from them years later that they've never experienced a panic attack after doing the hypnosis sessions for that. So like I said, it's a really powerful technique, and it also works really well for things like specific phobias. I've helped people who were afraid to fly, afraid to drive on the needles, fear of public speaking. I've worked with a couple of people who were just terrified of needles. And just the thought of needles sent them into a panic. And in fact, one of my clients years ago, she was so scared of needles, she wanted to get married, but the thought of having to have her blood drawn for the blood test, she kept putting off her wedding. And I had another client who was getting ready to go on a trip out of the country and needed to have, the required shots. I remember one of them was for malaria. I don't remember what the other ones were, but she had to have a malaria shot before she could leave to go on vacation in the country. And she couldn't do it. She was so scared of needles. So we did some hypnosis to really calm her down. And what I did with both of those clients and other clients that have been in the same situation with needles and medical procedures is I worked with their doctor. So we did a hypnosis session right before the doctor's appointment to get the malaria shot and to get the blood test for the marriage. And they were still in that really calm, relaxed state when they went to the appointment. And they both actually told me later they didn't even notice the injection. They just kind of were just calm and chit-chatting, and then the person told them, we're done, and they were surprised by that. So hypnosis is really helpful for things like anxiety. I've also helped people with test anxiety. So for therapists, for example, we have to have 2 license exams, and that is one of the things that holds people back a lot of times. So I've done quite a few sessions for people who have test anxiety, and we help them feel calm and comfortable about taking the test. I help them to know that they can remember the things they've studied, they're prepared. We walk them through what the day will look like, and as far as I know, I haven't heard back from anybody. I just had someone about 2 weeks ago, so I haven't heard back from her yet, but everyone so far has passed their test after doing that. So those are just a couple of things that hypnosis helps with anxiety-related issues. It's also really helpful for weight loss and for smoking, for things like that. I have a client who, after smoking more than 30 years, we did some hypnosis, and she went, I can't remember how long it was over 8 months. I think it was actually a year with not even a craving, no cheating at all. And she had tried to quit so many times before that, and nothing worked for her. She just, maybe she could go a couple of days and then couldn't do it anymore. So we did some hypnosis and not even a hint of a craving, and she was really kind of shocked by that. So hypnosis is great for that. Also, one other thing that I think is really interesting, and I actually get quite a few calls for this, is that hypnosis can really help with kids with bedwetting. It's really effective for things like that. So again, hypnosis is a very powerful technique that I use, and like I said before, you can find more information on my hypnosis page. There's a big write-up of information there. If you have any questions, please give me a call. My number is 949-228-9102, or you can email me through the contact page, and I look forward to speaking with you and meeting you soon. Thank you. Bye.